Okay, it seemed like a time to go live. Just to recap what we've been doing on Whatnot. So you all know that we sell on eBay, on Amazon, and then we just had a lot of inventory that we wanted to get rid of. So it was time to try a different channel. And so for the past month, we've been on Whatnot, and it's been pretty good so far. We started with like no subscribers on Whatnot. Maybe we had under 10, maybe 8 or so when we first started. So last month, we really focused on having more Whatnot shows or having any Whatnot shows. I think our first WhatNot show was at the very beginning of October. And then we ran a lot of shows and we kept running shows until we reached 100 subscribers. So yesterday we reached 101 subscribers. Sorry, I just got a notification. Okay. Yesterday we reached 101 subscribers on Whatnot, or followers. We should say followers on Whatnot. It was really cool. And so then we were going back to check what exactly we had done on Whatnot over the last month. So literally it's been about 6 weeks because today is November 12th. Yeah, and we've been doing this since the beginning of October. So as of November 12th, we did a lot of shows. So you can schedule your shows in advance on Whatnot, and that's what we did. We scheduled our shows in advance. We made sure we loaded all of the items so that if you're going to look at our show and Whatnot ahead of time, you can see all of the items pre-listed. And if you come and visit our show afterwards, you can see them listed as well while we're going through the show at least. So we had a total of 52 shows. And so we tried to do theme shows. We had shows for soft surroundings, J. Jill, anthropology, Patagonia, some concert tees. I'm looking at what I have here. Concert tees and kids. We had a kids show as well. So there were quite a few shows. So we went through, like I said, there were 52 shows. And sometimes for our shows, we'd combine the themes. So the kids show basically kind of ran on its own. We also did some American Eagle shows. For the other shows that were mostly women's clothing, we combined. So J. Jill and Soft Surroundings, Patagonia, and Lululemon. And that seemed to work relatively well for us. There are some brands that people just are not looking for on Whatnot per our sales or lack of sales. So what didn't sell for us, we didn't sell any J. Jill, we didn't sell any Soft Surroundings, and we did not sell any of our Anthropology. And maybe we just don't have the best Anthropology, but I feel like we had a really good mix of all three of those brands, and we didn't sell any of them. I don't think we sold any Patagonia either. No, we did. We sold the Patagonia skirt. Anyways, I'll go through and I'll tell you all the things that we sold actually for our shows. But like I said, we had a total of 52 shows. And then we gained 100 subscribers or followers on Whatnot. So there's 101 at this point. Don't anyone go anywhere. But if you want to go check us out on Whatnot, you can. And then we had a total of, I think we had 30 sales. Why is this showing 25? We definitely had 30 sales. I don't know where my other 5 sales are in my spreadsheet. But we had a total of 30 sales because some of them were in the previous month. And I'm looking at November maybe? No, that's not right. That is really weird. Where's the rest of my Whatnot sales? Now I'm annoyed. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back and check because I don't think any of these were choose. And it shows that I've only had 25 sales on Whatnot, and I definitely had 30. But anyways, over the last 6 weeks or so, we had 30 sales on Whatnot. We had one person that gave us a tip. It was only a tip of $1, but every little bit counts when it comes to our tips on Whatnot. So that was kind of cool that somebody gave us a tip. It was actually during a show, and it was like basically a 2-hour show, and nobody bought anything. But one showed up and gave us a tip, and then in the comments they were like, "Ask her questions, trying to drive engagement." And I was, thank you so much, because I've been on this for 2 hours and no one's bought anything. Anyways, our 30 sales came to should be, it looks like it came to $320 is what I have listed. Again, I don't think that's all the way accurate because I feel like I'm missing, this is on my spreadsheet's only showing me 25 items that sold, and I sold 30. So I'll go back and make sure when I edit this video and I upload it that I show all of the items that we listed. But maybe I can go through them with you right now. Essentially, oh, I forgot, we did nutrition shows as well. So we did health and beauty. I forgot a whole segment. We did nutrition shows, so like protein powders, and then we did health and beauty, so hair care and skin care. I feel like I'm missing one more. No, that's all of it. So our first sales were in our nutrition show, and so we sold some protein powder, so that was really cool. And then we transitioned from there into clothing. And then from there, we sold some Lululemon, I think was next up. Lululemon, and then, oh, someone bought one Anthropologie piece. It was a perfume, a vanilla sunrise perfume. So we did have one Anthropologie sale. What else did we sell? And then we sold from our health and beauty. I told you about that. We sold some of the hair products as well. So there were, well, I guess we didn't do so bad. I guess we did better than we thought, actually. I don't know for the to go through and tell you guys exactly what we sold, but when it came to clothing, we definitely sold the most of Lululemon. I think we just sold one piece by Patagonia, and that's because the woman that was buying it had already purchased a lot of Lululemon during that show, and I guess she just wanted the Patagonia skirt. But it was a plain skirt that we hadn't been able to sell on eBay, so we were happy to see it go. I think I will go through with you on the things that we actually sold. So these were things that were some things sold for less than what we'd want, but again, it's better than it's sitting in inventory. Someone says, hey, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. We're just talking about some of the things that sold during our WhatNot shows over the last 6 weeks. We've worked really hard to get our WhatNot viewing up and to get our 100 subscribers. And she says, I like your outfit. I know, I'm all about stripes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so when I edit this video, make sure I put like in the corner on whatever side, I'll show you the actual pieces themselves. But just to recap some of the things that sold on WhatNot, should I go in the order of the sales? Maybe I'll go in the order of the sales. That might be better for you because then you'll know the themes of the shows. Let's go and do the dates. Again, we only sold like 30 pieces on WhatNot. Let me explain. Not that I'm there yet, but on WhatNot, so you sell the items and then you put them all together and send them out to the customers. And then the customers, from the time that they receive the pieces, from the time they receive their orders, then they have like 48 hours to either like say something's wrong or not say anything. And then after that, the funds are released to you. But after you sold 1,000 pieces, WhatNot, then as soon as you basically have packaged everything up and you've printed the label, then WhatNot basically trusts that you're a good seller and they go ahead and release the funds to you. So you don't have to wait until the items get through transit and get to the customers, and then the customers wait that 48 hours, or there's that 48 hours from the time of delivery. So that's why in WhatNot it's important that you get to the 1,000 items that are sold. Us personally, we're only at 30 items sold, so we aren't anywhere near 1,000, but that's kind of the bar that you want to get to on WhatNot in order to have your funds available to you essentially right away as soon as you print the shipping label. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and, again, this is from the perspective of someone who started about 6 weeks ago on WhatNot with no sales, and now I have the 30 sales. I have 100 followers on WhatNot. And let's take a look, and I'll go in order of the date. So let's go oldest to newest, and give me a second because it's updating my spreadsheet. Okay, it did it. So from the first show, I sold 3 items on WhatNot. Well, this wasn't the first show, but this was the first show that I sold anything. So there were 3 items that sold, and this was a health and nutrition show. So nutritional supplements, protein supplements, a variety of things. And some of them were close to expiration. So again, that's why WhatNot is a good place to like liquidate items, especially if they aren't selling on eBay. If it's close to expiration, you can kind of get them out in a timely manner. So my first 3 items went to one person. She was a buyer on WhatNot. I appreciate her so much because once you have that first sale, it's kind of like, it's I want to say motivational. I almost said inspirational. It's probably a little bit inspirational too. But it's motivational because otherwise sitting in front of the camera and you were like showing pieces like, please buy my sweater, please buy my supplements. And you can see how many people are actually in the show. And sometimes you're sitting there, literally, I've had a show that ran for like 2 hours and nobody bought anything, but one person tipped me the dollar. So that made me feel better. But you really have to build up your audience. So for her to buy my first 3 pieces, I appreciate it so much. It's Amber X Pearl on WhatNot. Hopefully she doesn't mind me plugging her, but she also has shows and she sells as well. So I really appreciate you, Amber. Anyways, back to what I was saying. She bought, and when I edit this, I'll make sure I put it in the corner somewhere so that you can see pictures of the item. But the first 3 items, it was a Cellucor C4 original workout. There was a EHP OxyShred pre-workout powder, and then a pre-gym pre-workout powder tangerine. These were all items that For the most part, they had been sitting. They hadn't been selling on eBay. And then one of those items I just recently acquired. And because she bought like two other items, she wanted the last one at a deal. And so I gave it to her. Great. Those put me on the map, those first three. So for my first WhatNot show, I did $66 in sales. So WhatNot takes a certain percentage of your sales. I should have looked up the fee structure. Let me take a look real quick to see what the fee structure is on WhatNot. Fee structure, WhatNot. Okay, so this is just what AI says very quickly for the fee structure. It says commission, a flat 8% commission on the final selling price of the item, except for coins and money category, which is a 4% commission. I'm not selling any coins or money. That wouldn't be me. It says next there's a payment processing fee. So this makes sense because when you're doing your payments on WhatNot, I think you can do either like by check or by PayPal. I just have it sent via PayPal. So this makes sense. It's the 2.9% fee. That's usually like the PayPal fee plus 30 cents per action. So there's the commission, there's the payment processing fee. And for payment processing, it says this fee is calculated on the total amount the buyer pays, including the item price, tax, and shipping costs. Well, that kind of isn't great because we don't get to see any of the shipping costs as the seller. Well, for my shows, the way I have my selling set up, my shipping set up is that the buyer pays the shipping. So, yeah, I don't see any of that. And then it says to start on WhatNot, you need to submit an application. I've been on WhatNot for a while. I just haven't sold anything, but I've been able and had access to WhatNot for over a year, maybe almost 2 years at this point. You got to start using your platforms, okay? A girl needs to get the platforms down. Okay, so that is the WhatNot fee structure, flat 8% commission, and then you get the 2.9% fee for payment processing plus 30 cents per transaction. So what, like 8 and then another 3%, like 11% basically for WhatNot? Okay, I'm glad we went off on that tangent, but back to what sold. Okay, so the first show was about $66. That put me on the map. And just one person bought 3 items, of which I'm very, very thankful. And then my next show was on, so the first set of sales was October 4th. And then I did a bunch of other shows. So my next set of sales wasn't until the end of the month on October. So think about that. I went from October 4th to October 25th. That's like 21 21 days of no sales. Again, when you're first starting off on WhatNot and you don't have a following, you're really just talking to the camera and showing your pieces. And so I think I'll point this out as well. So for some shows, if the items are smaller, like for the supplement shows where I'm showing health and beauty products, I'm just going to show you one real quick. So if I'm showing something like this, like a conditioner, I'm not going to show it like this. I'm going to show it where the camera's like really zoomed in on the item. So for those shows, you don't see me. You would just see my hands and you would probably see like this setting in the background. And I'd set up the product like this, and then you would just see the product and that's what's focused on. So I try to do a mixture of shows in which, like for clothing, you'd see me, and then you'd also see the clothing piece, like what I showed you earlier. So I'd hold it up like this, and then you'd see like whatever clothing piece I'm trying to show you. But for smaller pieces, like for the health supplements, for hair and hair care, skin care, like when they're when they're small pieces, then I would just set it up behind me, and so you would just see my hands as I'm showing you the pieces, and the camera's like really zoomed in. So I test both shows because I wasn't sure if sometimes things sell better when you can see the host versus if you're just showing the item itself and they really need to see the deals of the item. I'm still new to it, so I don't know if there's really a difference either way. Because I have seen some people. There's one person that sells on WhatNot, and they do a lot of supplements as well. They do like tons of supplements, and they hold up the supplements just like I'm talking to you. They'll hold the supplements and show it to you, and so it is very interactive that way. I haven't done a supplement show like that where I'm just in front of the camera and I'm holding it up and I'm showing it, but maybe I'll do it. I just feel like it makes more sense if you show the supplement and it's really close and zoomed in as opposed to if I'm there and I'm like, oh, this is a man, look at the details. Anyways, they sell a lot, so it works for them. You just got to try different things. I'm only on like week 6. Okay, next I was to tell you about the next set. So I went from October 4th all the way out to October 25th. and I had no sales on Whatnot, so I was just doing shows and no one was buying anything. But I was getting more followers, so sometimes there's trade-offs that you have to go through. What sold October? So October is the show where I had someone who bought, how much did she buy? She bought 5 items, and these were all Lululemon pieces. Yes. So I just pulled all the extra Lululemon pieces out of eBay, and they should have already sold on eBay. They hadn't, so I was just like, let's try them on Whatnot. And it actually, so I sold the most of any brand that I sold on Whatnot was Lululemon. So she bought, let's see. She bought a Lululemon gray ombre legging. That was a nice piece. I definitely sold that at a loss, but it's sitting in my inventory for forever, so congrats to her. She bought a Lululemon Run Times speed up short. So I'll make sure again I put the pictures up, but it was a speed up short. And I asked her, I was like, why are you buying all these pieces? And she said that she has a daughter who wears that size in Lululemon. So it was helpful that I had a bunch of pieces, Lululemon pieces in a size 4, because that's what she was buying. She bought another pair of leggings, and they were like a green crop legging. She bought a scuba hoodie, and that was $13. Like, she paid $13 for these pieces, which is not necessarily what I wanted someone to pay for them on eBay. I wanted to drive a higher price. That didn't work. They had been sitting for a long time, so we sold them on Whatnot, and it worked. And then she also bought a pink jacket, leader of the track jacket. This was a really cute jacket. It was lightweight. It was more like a springtime jacket. And I think maybe I had sold this one time, maybe on eBay, and it had been returned, or the person had purchased it and then asked to cancel. I don't remember the story there. But those were the things that she bought. And she bought each of those for $13. I feel like $13 is the lowest amount that I really sell on Whatnot, because under 13, around the 12 to 13 mark, once you take out the approximate 10% for the Whatnot fee, then you're down to about $10 or so for what you actually get for the item. Again, if you're trying to move things, then I guess you'd be willing to take less than that, but $10 is kind of like my minimum right now. It depends on how desperate times get, okay? But you need to keep that in mind if you're selling on Whatnot, because some people Whatnot and they set their minimum price to like $1. And then if it sells for $1, maybe that was okay with you, maybe it wasn't. But if it matters to you, make sure that you set your price when you're listing your items, like when you're pre-listing your items before the show. You can set your minimum price, and then the customer or the buyer has to bid at least that or more. And if the buyer wants to buy it for less, then they can message you on Whatnot during your live show, and they can say, oh, can I get it for this price instead? One person did do that to me during my nutrition shows. There was a protein powder, we'll talk about it later, but there was this vegan vegetarian protein powder, and I had it listed for $30. And she was like, can you run it for 10? And I had had it since I've had that protein powder since February, and it's now November. You want it? No, she asked if I could run it for 20. I don't know if I said 10 before. She asked if I could run it for 20. And at first I wanted to be like, can you at least pay 25? But again, it had been for so long. Sure, she bought some other things as well, so that was helpful. But just make sure that whatever price you're listing on Whatnot, when you're doing your auction, that you're willing for the item to actually sell for that price. And if you want to adjust it during the show, it's pretty easy to make an edit or adjustment to your listings on Whatnot while you're doing the show. And the more shows that you do, the more you'll get used to it. But it's actually pretty user friendly, and it's not overly complicated. Okay, so that was my second show in which something sold. So October 4th, then I didn't have another sale till October 25th. And then from October 25th, then my next sale was November 3rd. So I'm getting a little bit more frequent with the sales. I was happy. Let's see, on October or November 3rd, how many pieces did I sell? I sold 7 pieces, and I think this all went to one person, and I did her in the comments why she was buying, but she didn't say anything, so I don't know. But she bought, so this was another show in which I did, I think I did Lululemon and Patagonia, and I might have been adding in the J. Jill and Soft Surroundings Ecology. Again, none of those other brands sold, just Lululemon and one piece by Patagonia. So let's see, what did she buy? She bought a Lululemon tank, The gray white tank. Oh, she bought the gray, it was like a gray striped tank with the coral stripes in the back or the coral cross in the back. So she bought that. She bought the other of my scuba hoodies. So scuba hoodies, I've only had two, and well, I had two that sold. She bought the second one, and that was a purple scuba hoodie, and it was cute because it had like this felt on the side. It was almost like angel wings on the side. But she bought that one. That was a good one. She bought a Time to Sweat tank, and it was just like a blue kind of plain tank by Lululemon. And she bought, let's see, the mesh shorts, the mesh sports bra. She bought a sports bra in orange, and that was just a basic sports bra by Lululemon. And let's see, the last couple of things she bought a lot. Yeah, she bought 7 things. She bought another purple stripe bra, Lululemon, and then she bought a black tank that had like black stripes in the front. So she bought a variety of sizes. I think the sizes that she bought was anywhere in like small range, so like 6 to 8. And I appreciate that. During the same show, another woman bought the Anthropologie scent. So I don't have any more of that perfume, but I had like a perfume by Anthropologie, and it was the Vanilla Sunrise. And so that was another item that no one had been buying for a while. It had been sitting in my inventory, and she bought it on WhatNot, and she got a good deal. That was 13. So all of those pieces sold for 13. All right. And so from November the 3rd to the 10th. So I went in a week of no sales, and then on November 10th is when I had my most recent sales. And I'm recording this on November 12th. So I guess it's been a couple days. Yeah. So my last set of sales was for November 10th. And on November 10th, I did a hair care and skincare with some nutrition mixed in. And that's why these are a mix of items. So my starting price from of these items was as low as $7. And then some of the items I would sell for, or list for like up to 50. No one bought those items, but the people that did buy during the show bought a mix of items. And if that makes sense, like somebody bought a protein powder and then they also brought a hair care item. So most of this was hair care items though. Let me take a look at what I sold that day. And some of these have been sitting for a long time. So again, thank you if you bought during my WhatNot shows. So I did a sexy hair texture spray. It was like a hairspray, and then there was also a conditioner that sold. And so did I sell one of those? I sold for $7. It looks like that was it a shampoo? It was either a shampoo or conditioner by Sexy Hair. That sold for 7. There was a IGK Prenup Instant Spray Hair Mask, and that also sold for $7. Again, these have been sitting in inventory for a long time, so I was just happy that they were being sold. And the people weren't buying one, they were buying these like in groups. So 3 people bought across this last show that I had 2 days ago. There was a Briogeo Call Me Brilliant conditioner that had been sitting in my inventory for a while, and she paid, it looks like she paid $7 for that. There was a Paul Mitchell Freeze and Shine hairspray, and it looks like they paid $12 for that one. There was a Sexy Hair Texture hairspray, and it looks like that went for $12. There was a Vegamore Grow conditioner sold for $7. I looked on eBay, and some people had been able to sell that for like at least like $20, $30, and mine was not selling. Anyways, it sold on WhatNot for $7. She bought something else to go along with it. I was just happy to see it go. The Truvani vegan powder and pumpkin spice go along with the season. That wasn't close to expiration at all, and that's the item that I had listed for $30. She asked if she could pay $20 for it instead. So I did a quick adjustment and let it go since I've had it since like February of this year. Don't want to hold on to it for another year until pumpkin spice season comes around again. We don't want to do that. And then the Wind conditioner. So do you know Win by Chaz Dean, I think is the name of the man who made Win? I'm not sure if they make Win products anymore, but I had a few of the cleansing conditioners in lavender, and I sold 2 of them during the show, and they sold for like $12 each. That was fine with me. These had been since earlier this year, February of this year, so time to let them go. And then I have one more Win that's available. So that is the summary of the items that I sold on WhatNot. Again, I'm a little bit confused because I know for sure that I sold 30 items and my spread is only showing 25. So I've got to go and figure out what I've mislabeled. That's probably my fault. But those are the items that sold on Whatnot. I'm trying to think what are some of the tips I would have from my first sales and the first few shows. I think doing theme shows in which you combine brands that are similar is helpful. So like J. Jill and Soft Surroundings, there's a certain type of audience that goes for those pieces, and I don't think they're on Whatnot because I haven't sold any of those items on Whatnot, so I'm probably just going to put those back into my inventory and sell them on eBay. Anthropologie, I know other people sell Anthropologie on Whatnot, and I did sell one Anthropologie perfume, but none of the clothing pieces sold concerning Anthropologie. So those might be going back into inventory for eBay. Patagonia, I've only sold one. Oh, that's what's missing. I didn't tell you guys about the Patagonia piece. Yeah, I sold one black Patagonia skirt on Whatnot, and that's not listed correctly on my spreadsheet. So I've probably sold closer to like 350 worth of sales during my first few shows and having under 100 followers on Whatnot. So anyways, a Patagonia black skirt that sold, but that's the only Patagonia piece that I've sold on Whatnot, I'm pretty sure. There were a couple other Patagonia pieces that sold on eBay during that time, so that was good, but none of my other Patagonia sold on Whatnot. Trying to think about the other things that I've had. The concert tees that I've had, those haven't sold on Whatnot. Actually, I had a show and I was running through all of my inventory and someone went into my comments during the show and they asked about the concert tees. So don't be like me, I didn't have the concert tees on hangers and I wasn't to that part of the show. So I was like, I'll get to it later, basically. Or I was like, I'm not there yet. And then that person left and then nothing sold during that show and then I got discouraged. So if someone asks you during your show, hey, can I see this piece? Because you have them preloaded, as long as you've preloaded all your items in inventory, they can scroll through while you're doing so, and then they can see like the pieces that they might want to see right away. If they ask and have it readily available, just go ahead and show it to them. Don't be like me and be like, I'll get to it later, and then nobody buys anything. So the concert tees haven't sold any of the concert tees and the accessories. So I've had some accessories on Whatnot. I've had an Anthropologie, like a jelly flip flop, and then the Anthropologie perfume that sold. But I think back to my original point, if you're going to do themed sales, then make sure the brands kind of go together. So Patagonia and Lululemon somewhat go together because they're both activewear brands. J. Jill and Soft Surroundings go together because their target market is more of a mature woman who doesn't seem like she's on Whatnot. So that might not be the case. Anthropologie, I really haven't had any Anthropologie sales when it comes to the clothing, so I can't really speak too much to Anthropologie. And I don't have a lot of Anthropologie pieces. I'm not really, I picked up a lot of Anthropologie pieces, and I haven't had a lot of sales success even with Anthropologie on eBay. So it's not a brand that I carry a lot of. And then I had some shows in which I added American Eagle. So I did American Eagle and concert tees because it seemed like those buyers might go together. I didn't sell any American Eagle, but I just had a couple shows with American Eagle. So that doesn't say too much. I need to pull all the rest of my American Eagle, but I don't feel like American Eagle would go at a premium. I don't even know if people would be willing to pay like $10 for American Eagle. Maybe some, but yeah, I had some American Eagle pieces and none of them sold. Again, not the best example because I didn't run a lot of shows with them. I got to think what else I'm going to do on Whatnot next. I really enjoy the health and beauty and the nutrition categories, but if you want to run those on Whatnot, you need to have a really large supply, and I feel like my is dwindling. So I got to figure out how to get more inventory because what can be like a numbers game. If you get the right amount of followers and you can build your audience, then you can just have money coming in every day on Whatnot if you want to do your shows. I'm not there yet, but we're working on it. So that's my summary of what sold on Whatnot. I know I missed a few pieces, but essentially the overall summary is that on Whatnot from October to today, so middle of November, from October 1st to middle of November, let me take a look at my notes. I ran 52 shows. I gained my first 100 followers on Whatnot. I had 30 sales total, and then for the total dollar amount of sales is about 350. I'll make sure I go through and do the exact calculation in my spreadsheet. I'm missing some again, but there were about $350 in sales, And again, 30 sales altogether. And then one person was gracious enough to tip me $1, and I really appreciate it. I know it sounds like really minor, but if you're standing here and you're doing these shows and no one's buying anything and somebody tips you $1, you're like, thank you. Thanks for at least seeing me. I think that's all I wanted to cover for today. Yeah, done with the WhatNot show, and I wanted to go through this summary, and I didn't want to sit down and do an official video for it. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I haven't done a live in a while. Yeah, I haven't done a live. I used to do like the unboxing lives, and I haven't really unboxed anything recently. But thank you being here. Hopefully you can subscribe to me on YouTube. You don't really see me that much on YouTube. You don't see me, but I'm there. Like I do videos, but I do a lot of voiceovers. So thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll see you on WhatNot as well. And I guess that's all for now. All right, you all have a good day. Thanks again. See ya.